I noticed in reading some of your stuff, you have a pretty strong opinion why we should not go to war with Iran, and there has been some discussion of that. Could you explain why you feel this way?
Absolutely. There are several reasons. Some of them are political, and then some of them are personal. As far as the political reasons go, I know that the things that the Iranian Islamic Republic does, which really upsets a lot of people in the American government, it's nothing new. They always talk about how they're going to fight the West and they're going to wipe certain countries off the map and they're ready to go to war and fight the jihad and all that stuff. That's nothing new. Our country already went through that throughout the Cold War. I mean, that was pretty much the Soviet Union's entire rapport for decades. But we managed to avoid World War III with the one superpower on Earth that actually had the capability of wiping us off the planet. Iran does not have that capability, so when they start making these promises, I'm not remotely concerned. I know that the moment they do start getting close to having a nuclear weapon, probably Israeli commanders are going to ghost those nuclear scientists, just like the nuclear scientists of other Middle Eastern countries have mysteriously vanished in the night when they got close to having nukes. Also, I definitely believe in blowback, and I think our government has already intervened way too darn much in Iran. Our history with that country goes back to 1953. They had a democratically elected prime minister who was very well beloved by the Iranian people, and the CIA overthrew him because he would not take a hard-line stance against the Soviet Union. They replaced him with the monarch, the kind gentleman that we know as the Shah, and he, of course, was a brutal dictator, and his people got tired of his crap, which is why extremists like Ayatollah Khomeini's extremist Shia movement had so much appeal in Iran because he was opposing the Shah. So he actually seemed like the good moderate, and so the Iranian people backed him, and they overthrew the Shah, and then that's what started this giant mess that we've got with the current Iranian regime. However, if we want that country or that government to be changed, if we want the regime to be overthrown, the best thing for us to do is to sit back, because we've already seen that government is very highly unpopular with the Iranian people. We saw this in a massive protest in 2009. They had to call out the national militia and basically assault people at their places of residence in order to get this revolution to stop. So I figure one or two more tries, and eventually the Iranian people are going to be successful because the majority of them are tired of their government's crap. They've also got a new president who's a moderate. He's got ties both to the religious majority, and he's also got a lot of ties and is well respected by the Green movement. And these are the protesters, the revolutionary movements. As far as my personal reasons, I don't talk about this too much, but I will talk about it right now. I do consider myself a Bible-believing Christian, and I do completely agree with the Great Commission that Jesus gives us in Matthew 28, which is to go to the corners of the world and teach people the gospel and the good news and bring them in to be brothers in Christ. I know that if we attack Iran, it's going to be a war. That's just the way it is. The last time that country was generally attacked was in 1980 by the Iraqis, and it was a very costly, very difficult war. But we know that the Iranian people were willing to put their gripes with the regime aside in order to defend their country from the invaders. So instead of being liberators, we're going to make the Iranian government's propaganda true that the Americans are going to invade us any day now, they're going to destroy you, they're going to destroy your families and your property. I think it's a lot better for us to just have friendly discourse with Iran, let the Iranian people take out their own government, because if there is another war, it's going to be a repeat almost of the Iran-Iraq war. And what the government did in that war is they started off that big national militia, which we know is a Basij. And one thing they did was they took some conscripts and some volunteers between the ages of 12 and 18. They sent teenagers to the battlefield, and they did not have weapons. Their jobs was basically to march forward on the battlefield in front of the army, and they were supposed to be bullet catchers. And if you look at the statistics of the fatalities of that war, those teenage boys did their jobs outstandingly well. And if we go there to war with Iran, I know those teenagers, again, are going to do their jobs well. They're going to be bullet catchers, and they're going to lose several 100,000 more people. I think, personally, Jesus, the last thing he would want us to do is to kill several 100,000 of our own brothers when there are peaceful alternatives for bringing them to the gospel and for making a democracy out of that country without war.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, I've actually known a number of Iranian people. They call themselves Persians when they're in the U.S. mostly, but they've been really nice people. So somehow in time we've got to find a way to do something with them.